Here is something that should be mathematically impossible. 76% of Americans have almost no financial safety net. That is not a typo. 3 out of 4 working adults in this country could not handle a single bad month without sliding into panic. And yet, every personal finance video on YouTube tells the same people to just save more. Just save more. With what money? According to civic science data from January 2026, 21% of Americans finished the month with exactly $0 left over. Another 55% say they have a little left, which in plain English means they have $37 and a prayer. MarketWatch Guides puts the paycheck to paycheck number even higher, at 57% of adults. Bank of America's own internal data shows 29% of lower-income households spending more than 95% of their income just on necessities. Wages for lower-income workers have been growing slower than inflation since early 2025. You are not lazy. You are not bad with money. You are inside a system that is actively pulling the savings goal out of reach. I'm Mr. Bandage, and your money situation needs triage. I patch up financial wounds for a living, and the wound I see most often is the exact one you're dealing with right now. You want to save. You know you should save. But every time you try, the car needs tires, the cat needs the vet, the electric bill has a mysterious new line item, and whatever you manage to squirrel away is gone by Thursday. You are not imagining this. The system is designed this way. If you felt stupid for not being able to save, stop. You are not the problem. And if this is your first video with me, hit subscribe, because we are about to do something nobody else on this platform will do today. Quick note before we go deeper. This is education, not financial advice. Do your own homework before any big money moves. Today we are going to do something very specific. We are going to build a real plan to save your first $1,000, not $10,000, not a 6-month emergency fund. 1,000. Because that first 1,000 is the hardest 1,000 you will ever save, and once you have it, everything else gets easier. I will show you the math, the traps, the exact sequence, and what to do if the numbers don't work. Let's start with why $1,000 matters so much. The Federal Reserve's own Economic Well-Being Survey has been asking Americans the same question for years. Could you cover a $400 emergency with cash or its equivalent? And every single year, around 1 in 3 adults says no. No, they could not cover $400, which means that when life punches them in the face, and life always punches everyone in the face eventually, they have exactly 2 options: credit card, or skip the problem and hope it goes away. Both of those options make them poorer. $1,000 in a savings account changes that equation completely. Blown tire, urgent care copay, security deposit you didn't know about, the furnace noise that turned into a repair bill. $1,000 handles almost every normal life emergency without touching a credit card. And here is the part that should break your brain. The average credit card interest rate in America right now is over 20%. If you put a $1,000 emergency on a card and pay only the minimum, you will still be paying for that emergency 4 years from now. You will pay back almost $1,500 for a $1,000 problem. $1,000 in savings is not just $1,000. It is $500 of interest you will never pay to a bank. It is $500 that stays in your pocket forever. So $1,000 is the line. Everything below it is survival mode. Everything above it is where real wealth building becomes possible. That is the target. Now the part that matters, how. Here is the trap nobody sees coming. Almost every budgeting video starts with track your spending. You open an app, you categorize 400 transactions, you discover that you spent $68 at Starbucks. You feel bad about yourself for 2 days and then you quit. I have watched this cycle destroy more savings plans than anything else in personal finance. If you have tried this 3 times and it has never worked, you are not broken. The method is broken. Tracking spending is a diagnostic tool. It does not save you money by itself. You can know exactly where every dollar went and still end the month with zero. It is like weighing yourself every morning and expecting the scale to make you thinner. So we are going to skip that step entirely. Instead, we are going to do something that actually moves money. Meet Marcus. Marcus is 31 years old. He lives in Columbus, Ohio. He works as a warehouse supervisor and brings home about $2,900 a month after taxes and his insurance deductions. His rent is $1,100. His car payment is $320. Insurance, utilities, phone, and gas eat another $600. Groceries run him about $450. That leaves him, on paper, with $430 a month. In reality, he ends every month with about $12 and a feeling of dread. He has tried to save 3 separate times. Each time something broke, something came up, something demanded a chunk of that 430, and the savings account went back to zero. Marcus is not bad with money. Marcus is dealing with what I call the drift problem. Money that sits in a checking account drifts. It disappears into a dozen small decisions. A $47 dinner here. A grocery run that was supposed to be $60 and came out to $120. Amazon. The friend who needs $20 until Friday. Drift. By the end of the month, Marcus cannot tell you where $430 went because it did not go anywhere visible. It just dissolved. The single most powerful move Marcus can make is to remove the money from his own control before he has a chance to drift it away. Here is how. Step 1. Open a separate high-yield savings account at a different bank than your checking. Not the same bank, a different bank. The physical friction of logging into a different app to move money back is the entire point. As of this week, high-yield savings accounts in the United States are paying between 4 and 5% annual percentage yield. The national average savings rate at a big traditional bank is 0.39%, according to FDIC data. That is not a small gap. That is your money earning more than 10 times as much for the exact same dollar just by being in a different account. Varo, Axos, Newdeck, Via, Wealthfront, SoFi. There are a dozen FDIC-insured options paying 4% or more. Pick one. Open it today. It takes about 8 minutes on your phone. Step 2. Set up an automatic transfer from checking to that new account for the day after you get paid. Not a goal. An automatic transfer. You cannot save what you have to decide to save every 2 weeks. Willpower is a finite resource, and yours is already being spent on showing up to work and not yelling at anyone. You can only save what moves before you notice. Step 3, and this is where the math gets brutal. The amount matters less than you think. Start with $25 a paycheck. 25. That is one DoorDash order. If you get paid every 2 weeks, that is $50 a month, which is $600 a year. If you can push it to $50 a paycheck, you are at $1,300 a year. At $75 a paycheck, you hit $1,000 in about 6 months. At $100 a paycheck, you hit it in 5. The point of starting at 25 is not the speed. The point is to prove to your own brain that you can do it. Once the transfer has happened 3 times in a row and nothing catastrophic broke, your brain rewires. Now saving is normal. Now saving is boring. Boring is what you want. You might be thinking, that's great, but I don't have $25 a paycheck to spare. I hear you. Here is why that is not the full picture. This is the part most creators skip because it is uncomfortable. If you genuinely do not have $25 a paycheck, your problem is not a savings problem. It is a math problem, and we need to find the dollars before we can save them. So here is the audit I want you to do, not a spending tracker, a 5-line audit. Line 1, your subscriptions, every single one. Streaming, music, fitness apps, cloud storage, that meditation app you downloaded 18 months ago and opened twice. Open your bank statement from last month and list them. The average American spends over $200 a month on subscriptions, and research consistently shows that most people underestimate their own subscription spending by about $70 a month. That is roughly $840 a year. That is almost your whole first thousand just from canceling things you forgot you bought. The test is simple. If you have not used it in the last 30 days, kill it. You can always resubscribe. That is the whole point of a subscription. Line 2. Your bank fees, overdraft fees, monthly maintenance fees, ATM fees. If you are paying any of these, you are at the wrong bank. A credit union or a free online checking account will eliminate these overnight. The average American who pays overdraft fees pays about $150 a year. Some pay $400 or $500. Gone, just by switching banks. Ally, Chime, Capital One 360, SoFi. None of them charge overdraft fees in the way your old bank does. Line 3. Your cell phone bill. If you are on a big three carrier paying $90 a month for a single line, there are MVNO carriers using the exact same networks charging $30 to $40. Same coverage, same speed, half the price. Mint Mobile, Visible, US Mobile, Tello. Your phone is already unlocked or can be unlocked with a phone call. That is $50 to $60 a month. $600 to $700 a year. Found. Line 4. Your insurance. Car insurance is a lazy person tax in this country. The average driver who shops their insurance every 2 years saves between $300 and $500 annually compared to the person who lets it auto-renew. 20 minutes of phone calls. Hundreds of dollars. Same with renter's insurance, which by the way most renters should have and don't, and which costs about $15 a month and would save them thousands if anything ever happened. Line 5. Your credit card interest. If you are carrying a balance on a high-interest card, and you have even mediocre credit, a 0% balance transfer card can save you hundreds in interest in the first 12 months. That saved interest goes directly into your $1,000 fund. The transfer fee is usually 3 to 5%, which sounds bad until you realize you were paying 20+% annual interest on the old card. The math is not close. Add those 5 lines up for a typical Marcus-type earner, and we are talking about finding somewhere between $800 and $1,200 a year without cutting a single thing out of your actual life. Not your coffee, not your dinner out, not your subscriptions you actually use, just the leaks. Now here's what changes everything. The psychology of the first 1,000 is different from the psychology of any other dollar you will ever save. Watch this. Your brain treats money in buckets. Research from behavioral economists like Richard Thaler has shown this for decades. $1 in a checking account labeled money feels different from $1 in a savings account labeled emergency fund. They are the same dollar. Your brain does not care. It will spend the checking dollar and protect the savings dollar. This is called mental accounting, and it is the single most powerful free tool you have. So when you name that new high-yield savings account, do not call it savings. Call it do not touch. Call it the only thing between me and a payday loan. Call it future me's lifeline. Name it something your brain will feel guilty about raiding. This sounds stupid. It is not stupid. Studies on goal naming consistently show that people who give their savings account specific, emotionally charged names are significantly more likely to hit their targets than people who leave accounts as generic savings one. Your brain is protecting the name, not the number. Let me introduce you to someone else. Meet Priya. Priya is 26, works as a dental hygienist in Phoenix, takes home about $3,200 a month. Single, no kids, student loan payment of $280, rent of $1,300 for a studio, car paid off. She should be able to save plenty. She cannot save anything. When she did her 5-line audit, here is what she found. $146 a month on 6 different streaming and wellness subscriptions, 4 of which she had not opened in over 60 days. $82 a month on overdraft and maintenance fees from a traditional bank that kept catching her with a negative balance by $12. A phone bill of $98 for a plan she could replace for $35. Car insurance she had not shopped since she got the car, running $300 a year too high. And a credit card balance she had been paying the minimum on for 14 months. Total identified leaks, about $330 a month. That is not a typo. $330 a month, or almost $4,000 a year, from a person who had sworn she had nothing to cut. Priya did not change her lifestyle. She did not eat at home more. She did not cancel anything she actually used. She killed the zombies, switched banks, switched carriers, reshopped insurance, and did a 0% balance transfer. She hit her first 1,000 in 7 weeks. The lesson is not that Priya was secretly rich. The lesson is that the leaks are almost always bigger than the lifestyle. You do not have to become a different person to save money. You have to stop paying for things that aren't making your life better. Here is the trap nobody sees coming, part 2. Tax refund season. If you get a tax refund, and about 75% of American filers do, the average refund runs between $2,000 and $3,000. The second that refund hits your checking account, it feels like free money. It is not free money. It is your money. You already earned it and the government gave it back because you overpaid. Most people blow 70 to 80% of their refund within 30 days on stuff that does not move their life forward, which is adorable if you think a new television is an investment. If you are serious about hitting $1,000 this year and your refund is coming, move 1,000 of it into the Do Not Touch account the day it clears. You are done. You hit the goal. Everything from that point forward is acceleration. If you already got your refund this year and it is gone, that is fine. We are building a system, not looking backwards. Don't skip this next part. It is the difference between a plan that works and a plan that dies in the 3rd week. You need a rule for what happens when life happens, because life is going to happen. Your transmission will start making a noise. Your dog will swallow something. Your kid will need shoes before school starts. When that happens, most people panic, pull the savings, zero the account, and never restart. The rule is this: you are allowed to use the fund for actual emergencies. That is literally what it is for. But the moment you use it, you restart the automatic transfers the next paycheck. No waiting. No, I'll get back to it next month. Next paycheck. If you restart within 14 days, you will refill the fund. If you wait a month, you will never refill it. The data on habit formation is extremely clear. Habits break inside gaps. A gap is the enemy. And here is the other version of the same trap. You are not allowed to use the fund for not emergencies. A wedding you were invited to 4 months ago is not an emergency. A concert ticket is not an emergency. A sale at a store is not an emergency. An emergency is something you genuinely cannot predict and genuinely cannot skip. Define the word emergency before you need it, because once you need it, you will redefine the word. Now here's what changes everything, part 3. I want to talk about what happens when other people get involved. Because almost nobody lives financially alone. You have roommates, a partner, family members who ask for money, friends who assume everyone wants to go to the same $45 brunch. Here is the part that gets twisted. A savings goal is almost impossible to hit if the people around you do not know you have one. Not because they will sabotage you on purpose. Because you will get invited to things. You will get asked for things. You will feel social pressure to say yes. And yes is expensive. You do not have to announce your balance to the world, but you do need a single short sentence you are willing to say out loud. I'm locking down for a few months. I'm on a money reset. I'm in savings mode, I'll be back. That is it. You will be shocked how many people respect it. Most people are also broke. Most people are relieved when someone else says it first. Here's where the math gets brutal. The people who hit $1,000 almost never stop there. Not because they suddenly have more money, Because the machine they built to save the first 1,000 keeps running. The transfer is automatic. The account is separate. The leaks are plugged. Month 4, month 5, month 6, that account just keeps growing. You look up one day and you have 2,000, then 3. Then the number that financial planners actually recommend, which is 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. And you did not do anything harder than what you did to get to the first 1,000. You just did not turn the machine off. Here is where it gets twisted. The hardest part of this is not the math. The hardest part is that the first 4 to 6 weeks, you will feel like nothing is happening. $25 a paycheck does not feel like wealth building. It feels like pretending. And your brain will try to quit because your brain is optimized for short-term reward and saving is a long-term game. You have to push through the boredom. The boredom is the point. If saving felt exciting, everybody would be doing it. And here is the other thing that happens. You sleep better, actually. Sleep researchers at the American Psychological Association have published data on this repeatedly. Financial stress is one of the top 3 predictors of insomnia, anxiety, and depression in American adults. $1,000 in a savings account measurably lowers the body's cortisol response to normal stressors. It changes how you feel walking into work on Monday. It changes how you react when your boss is in a weird mood. It changes whether you can say no to a bad deal, a bad apartment, a bad relationship. The first $1,000 is not just money. It is a new nervous system. Ask anyone who went from zero savings to $1,000 in the bank how it changed their decision-making. They will tell you the same thing every time. They stopped flinching. Now let's talk about what to do if your numbers genuinely do not work. If you have done the audit, plugged every leak, and you still cannot find $25 a paycheck, you are in the category that most videos ignore. You do not have a spending problem. You have an income problem. And I am not going to insult you by telling you to side hustle harder. I will tell you the truth. The highest leverage move you can make in that situation is not cutting another $30. It is adding 100. A negotiated raise at your current job. A lateral move to a competitor. A certification that moves you up a rung. The BLS data on job switchers versus stayers has been clear for years. People who change jobs see wage growth about 2 to 3 percentage points higher than people who stay. On a $50,000 salary, that is an extra $1,000 to $1,500 a year before a single lifestyle change. That is your entire fund in one conversation or one resume. The second highest leverage move, if a job change is not feasible in the short term, is reducing one of your 2 or 3 biggest fixed expenses: housing, transportation, or debt. A roommate moving to a cheaper unit at renewal, trading down from a car payment to a used reliable car, or consolidating debt to a lower rate. Any one of these can free up hundreds a month. Not fun, not glamorous, very effective. And the third move, which almost nobody talks about, is making sure you are not leaving money on the table at your current job. Are you contributing to your 401k up to the full employer match? Because if your employer matches 3% and you contribute 0, you are literally turning down free money that would otherwise show up as part of your total compensation. That is not about saving. That is about claiming what you already earned. Let me anticipate one more objection. You might be thinking, Mr. Bandage, I already have debt. Shouldn't I pay down the debt before I save anything? This is a great question, and the answer is more nuanced than most creators give. Here is the honest version. If you have high-interest debt, which means anything over about 8 or 9%, you should absolutely be attacking it aggressively. But you still need some cash buffer. Because if you throw every dollar at debt and then your car breaks, you have no choice but to go back into debt, often at a higher rate, to handle the emergency. Which means you paid interest, then took on more interest, then paid more interest. That is how people stay stuck for decades. $1,000 in savings is the firewall that prevents the doom loop. Build the 1,000 first, even while paying minimums on the debt. Then attack the debt. then rebuild savings further. That is the sequence. So here's the full plan in one breath. Open a high-yield savings account at a bank that is not your main bank. Automate a small transfer the day after payday. Audit 5 specific leak points in your budget this week, starting with subscriptions. Name the account something emotionally weird so your brain protects it. Treat your tax refund like the gift it is and move 1,000 the day it hits. Restart automatically if you ever have to use the fund. Define emergency before you need the word. Tell the people in your life that you are in savings mode. And if the math still doesn't work after all that, go earn more, not cut more. You are not bad with money. You are working inside a system that was not designed to let you save easily. The fact that 76% of Americans are in the same boat is not a coincidence. It is the water temperature. Banks profit from your overdrafts. Credit card companies profit from your minimum payments. Subscription services profit from your forgetfulness. Your current insurance company profits from your laziness. Every single one of those leaks is someone else's revenue stream. Plugging them is not just saving money, it is taking your money back. Once you see the water, you can start swimming. And the first $1,000 is how you figure out that you can actually swim. If this video helped you see things differently, drop a like. It actually matters more than you'd think. And if you want more straight talk about your money, hit subscribe. Mr. Bandage drops a new video every single day. I'll see you tomorrow with another one. Money hurts. I help.